Hello, fellow YouTubers. Today I'm excited to announce that I've finished my first self-published book, entitled Adventure to the Moon. Now, I started writing this book about 5 years ago when my best friend and his wife had their first child. This inspired me to write this book for him. And now I'm pleased to say that 5 years later, with the book completed, I am able to give him this story, which he can now read to his siblings. You can see these gorgeous illustrations on the screen right now, and I'd like to thank the very talented illustrator Helen Brownsword, also known to me as Mum, who worked diligently to hand draw each illustration for this book. I'd say together we've been able to create a fantastic children's story, Adventure to the Moon. Now I'd like to take a few moments to read the first 4 pages of my new book, so please sit back, relax, and enjoy. "Greetings!" exclaimed Mr. Tusk as he walked into the local hardware store. "Good day, Mr. Tusk," replied Mr. Stripes with a smile. "What can I help you with today?" "Well," began Mr. Tusk enthusiastically, "Miss Squeak and I are planning an exciting adventure together." "Oh, that sounds fun. Where are you going for your adventure?" asked Mr. Stripes. "The moon," replied Mr. Tusk confidently. Mr. Stripes looked at Mr. Tusk in bewilderment. "The moon?" he asked. "And how do you plan to get to the moon, then?" "Well, that's why I've come to your hardware store, Mr. Stripes. I'm going to need some good supplies to get us all the way to the moon." "You certainly are, Mr. Tusk, but I really don't know what to suggest. Are you going to build a rocket?" "No," said Mr. Tusk, looking intently all around Mr. Stripes' shelves stacked full of wood, nails, hammers, glue, and all kinds of other supplies. "Okay, so what can I get you to help you and Miss Squeak travel to the moon?" asked Mr. Stripes, scratching his head. Mr. Tusk took a deep breath and looked at the list he had quickly written on a scrap of paper. "I need 8 solid beams of wood, a bag of nails, and a very large piece of stretchy, bouncy fabric, please," he said. Mr. Stripes collected up all the supplies Mr. Tusk had asked for, though he still had no idea how Mr. Tusk was going to use 8 solid beams of wood, a bag of nails, and a very large piece of stretchy, bouncy fabric to help himself and Miss Squeak fly to the moon. Mr. Tusk paid for the supplies and thanked Mr. Stripes for his help. Then he eagerly gathered everything up and made his way out of the hardware store. "Let me know how it goes," Mr. Stripes called after him. "I will," replied Mr. Tusk, smiling. I hope you enjoyed that little preview, and if you'd like to find out what happens to Mr. Tusk and Miss Squeak, please see the link in the description of this video, and it'll take you to my blurb store where I've published this book, and you can purchase it from there. I'll be making a how-to video on how you too can publish your own stories using blurb. So until next time, thank you for watching.